Well, welcome to the Where's Your Next vlogcast. I'm here with Aaron Lintz, who is spoken at SourceCon and SOSU, the Sourcing Summit. Among other things, he's a globally renowned sourcing expert. So it's great to have you on, Aaron.
Thank you. Yeah, glad to be on, Mike.
Yeah, why don't you share more about yourself? And
Sure. Uh, like many have been started from agency, worked into corporate world with sourcing, and have grown and advanced my skill where I'm usually helping teams with their transformation and working globally and remote with people all around the world to kind of grow their organization, their sourcing metrics, and all the data that they want to make informed decisions with.
so what drives you about sourcing? Why'd you do it? What has made you who you are? Why do you think sourcing is one of the most important functions?
It's a I, I do believe that it's it's that specialty that some people just enjoy more. I have met great recruiters who are exceptional sourcers, but their real strength is in relationships, and more so now than ever. I think that they should be encouraged to focus more on being that person, that point of contact, that trust partner that the candidate can rely on. And if you do that, then you make some decisions about, you know, the layout of your team. Is that the same personality type that's going to go digging through every resume to make sure that everyone was given an opportunity, or are they the ones that are going to be inclined to check multiple types of titles and keywords? uh, it's a rare mix to have both. And so what I've found is that organizations, you know, don't realize that they're settling, but they are. And so the specialization of having somebody who's that relationship partner and having somebody who is that, data driven individual, um, that can work in harmony. And so if you have, and once you get good at it, it becomes like the baton race, the easy handoffs. And not only are they handing off, but they're communicating while they're doing it, while they're moving real time. So there's a real benefit to being able to do that from an agility standpoint, from a metric standpoint, from a data quality standpoint.
Yeah. So what have you been doing the last few years in TA?
Oh, nothing. Just finding people. Just kidding. Uh, the last few years, I really got a chance to grow where I was building programs. I think the primary one that I enjoyed the most was working with a few folks to build an internal mobility team, and that way we could really, the last 5+ years, the diversity and inclusion has been really a major point of where organizations define who they are, what their message is, beyond what the company's slogan is, or what their values are, showing it by showing the individuals that make up the company. And it feels honestly half-hearted if you get all of that work done and all of that effort done, and yet those people don't get promoted from within. So what uh, we did was establish, even though a lot of those promotions are um, or movements within the company aren't always the off-the-shelf job types and job families, they're often a hybrid of roles and skills. We can still put together a performance-based approach to hiring the right person, that we're all in agreement with what we're all looking for, and then obviously trying to find that talent internally before we go to the market, because it helps with that retention, and it helps people see people like them, or people who've worked their way up through the company given an opportunity to expand even further.
So you were helping with internal promotion programs, it sounds like, huh?
Yeah, it was how do you build that in a way that's equitable. We came up with a way to have, scorecards and a process, bring in finance to make sure that the levels and the pay is right, make sure that leadership's on board with the approach, that if even though this might be slower, there's value in that, in taking the time, as well as um, making certain that the names were removed. So hiring partners would only see a set of questions that were answered, and then they would decide if that makes them potential yes or no to move forward. And then we would kind of help them with a transition plan if they got picked to slide off the team they're on and onto a new one. So a lot of moving parts, a lot of people, and a lot of opportunity for companies to say, yeah, that sounds complicated. I'd rather just bring somebody else in, and then just, you know, explaining, what that cost is, and not just dollars and cents, but in the people and long term, um, you know, feels that people have about the company and the business leadership. So it's
That's an amazing journey you've been on. So you were focused primarily on bringing in external talent before, but then your role switched, and you were focused more on the internal pathing. It sounds like, and so that must have been a transition. What caused that? What advice do you have to sourcers, for example, from going to that, from like when your career makes a change and a pivot like that? What kind of advice do you have to make yourself more
uh,
valuable?
I mean, it's just that. I mean, especially these days, I think everyone's wearing more than one hat. Everyone is taking their their opportunities where they are, and they want to be busy and having those relationships. So when you hear that the operations team is having a meeting with HR and it sounds like something boring, um, you might want to stay out of. Find a way to add value. That, I noticed that many of the people on the talent business partners often haven't had hands-on recruiting in many years, or if they do, it's it's by the feels. It's
Hmm.
not by the scorecards and the metrics. And we wanted to have process-driven approach, and so it was how do you become that subject matter expert that they want to talk to when they, as much as um, they may be experts in pay transparency and things like that. How that gets implemented, how does that get worked into the system that we have today? How can we, is there some future proofing? Like, can I look around the corner to see what's happening next quarter? And so, uh, made myself indispensable, by
Hmm.
sitting in on meetings, having conversations with people, and growing those relationships so that, I could offer them some advice, and then be asked to take on different responsibilities.
Well, you know what the value of that is, I think is extremely powerful. I mean, I think one of the things I've learned when I worked at ADP, for example, I got involved in internal projects, and I had been external facing a lot of my external work, in recruiting. But what I found was the same thing. When I got involved with internal mobility programs and working on some of those things, because a lot of our work encompassed the transition between someone who interviewed for a role and then moved into another role. And so I hear you. I think just talking through those projects and those programs, what an valuable perspective that we can have too, because there's two ways to look at talent. One is you got the internal side of it, you've got the external side, and then getting a feel for what your organizational culture is. I think all those things come together in a way that's very beautiful, and it's when you look at all those factors and how they all fit together strategically, it's almost you're like you're an organizational development guy at that point, because the talent acquisition side of it, as we're talking about careers, Aaron's a good example of how you can go from an external facing talent acquisition person to an internal person as well. And you know that is such an important pivot to be able to do. We have to be chameleons sometimes because we are HR practitioners at our heart, at the end of the day. So it's just a good example of why TA folks need to know the HR side of things too, and kind of get well versed in that. I think the language you're speaking on that, and knowing the compensation, and talking about the strategy with your finance partners and all that good stuff. I think all those things are so key, right? So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just I said I transitioned out of that company now, so I'm actively looking. But right up until the day I left, we were working on revamping our accommodations policies because
wow.
we didn't have it wasn't spelled out, and we needed to make sure that we had a way for people to express that when they were applying, and then again when we onboarded them, potentially another opportunity now that they have an employee ID, and that gets fed to the right people in the organization. We're just trying to, you see more of that, like that transparency about a page with your benefits. Often that used to be, hidden behind, when you accept the offer, then we'll send you this information. And now it's more, companies have to be more willing to share some of that stuff, more details about, what's covered, what are the deductibles, whatever it may be, to make people more willing to picture themselves in that job.
Transparency is so important. Like, it's becoming more and more key in many states, like New York and California. And just being able to talk pay transparency, like to the point where now it's even being posted on job descriptions. So I think you're absolutely correct. But that, with COVID and all the pendulum swing of, how talent has been short, it's still we're still short staffed in many places, right? And unemployment rates running at 5%. In some places it's 1%, crazy enough. Like here in Utah, it's 2. So
Wow.
just, it's so important to be able to speak to the pieces that attract the candidate. And I think you're spot on. I think even in the past few years, the candidate experience has become, you know, we need to talk about that more, because in order to attract those candidates into your company, you've got to have some carrot that's really compelling for them. And it's almost like you have to create like a persona. You have to kind of think about the talent pools you want to attract and think about it strategically. There's a lot of companies that have cut back on their talent acquisition teams, and now there's a lot of skeleton crews. I'm working agency right now. So yeah, I mean, I think as we look at all these different things, what advice do you have to those companies about thinking in a forward thinking manner? I mean, not, you've spoken about the retention side, but what about
Yeah.
the attracting new talent in the doors? What kind of advice do you have for that?
Yeah, I mean, that's I think the I always see the kind of vague terms used, and I've only seen or heard of a couple companies that do it well, but talk about how they want to hire agile people or people who are willing to help themselves prioritize and communicate more openly. And I think that's just the nature of it. If you've ever seen what a kitchen looks like behind the scenes, um, yeah, it's something like watching Dunkirk or something. It's the people in the trenches
That's a really good example.
patching people up. It's so if
It's a
you're moving,
constant battle.
a constant battle. It might be a battle of
Oh
attrition,
yeah.
and it's certainly one where you've got to communicate with each other, quickly, often, open, um, and hopefully you have that relationship where people can talk through their concerns directly, where you have a way that it's not escalated right away, you know, a misunderstanding or something that can be talked through is something that people can workshop, or at least come together and agree to disagree on. And I think those are the things that are bound to happen. I don't know how you look for those kinds of people, or what are the things that make somebody more flexible, I guess, is something that kind of comes through in their work. In my experience, it's everyone says that they're willing to help others and mentor, but give me an example of how you helped somebody that was struggling, or how did you help somebody who you saw that they were making mistakes and you didn't want it to become a pattern. Are you the kind of person that can take somebody aside, have one of those crucial conversations with them about, even if they're not somebody that reports to you, let them know that that you're there to help, or that they need potentially more support, or that their work-life balance doesn't seem balanced. It could be any of those things, but for a team to perform at its best, especially when they're under pressure, you've got to have those kind of conversations in an open way. And so people who are willing to look at themselves in the mirror and say, I can do better, or acknowledge a mistake and say that they don't like to repeat mistakes, so they'll work on improving it. Those are high marks in my book. People who are unwilling to acknowledge their mistakes or have excuses all the time. Not saying that's an easy thing to check for when you're going through candidates, but because people are often prepared or over prepared, but showing that humility, in my mind, takes a bigger person. So they're the kind of people who will unlikely to cause major conflict.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And one thing I wanted to let you do is showcase some of your amazing sourcing knowledge, because I don't think we've done that yet on this channel. But do you want to share your screen and share some things that you've
Sure.
been experimenting on? One of the things that Aaron does really well is he's a Boolean master. So I think the science of how you find and attract candidates is always fun, and this is kind of a good exercise for my audience to see. I know a lot of folks are always interested in, how do we do sourcing? What's your process when you get a new job? So I asked Aaron to come up with something creative to think about that he might want to share. So let's see what you got, man. Let's see your magic.
I think I need to have access to share. It says, I think I need.
Oh, sure. Let me see. So let me see. I don't know if hopefully this will work for you. Presenter mode. It's not letting you do anything, huh?
It's grayed out. It just says only organizers and presenters can share.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a surprise, but
Let me see if there's.
Something's working here. Let's see. So letting you do something?
No. Well, it says whiteboard in progress.
I don't know what I did there. Okay, stop that. That's me. Okay, and then let's see. Permissions, presenter mode. That's one thing about Teams. Oh well, let's keep talking.
Well,
Next time.
I could tell you the tools I was going to show.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fine. Sorry about the technical difficulty. We'll learn as we go.
there's one called Use Artemis that I've been playing around with. It's just the word use and Artemis. One of those tools that I bought, kind of enjoy. There's the lifetime deals like Appsumo that every once in a while I'll jump on. And this one was one of those ones that sounds very good. And they've kind of grown what it's capable of. and it has an enrichment where it'll find and verify email addresses like you normally see, but it has a campaign tool, which again, if I was going to show, I had 48 people that I had their they were TA people, and they are, let me just see the status of this one. Well, so it's a campaign where it's going to visit their profiles. It's going to send them an invite if I'm not connected to them. And then after a certain amount of time, it'll send them, if they accept the invite, a direct message that is specifically tailored for that campaign. So just having some kind of automation. I'm normally not a fan of these things, but again, I'm actively looking right now and wanted to reach out to some people that I had seen that had listed their LinkedIn profiles in a specific place. So
try sharing now and see if it works. I think I turned something on for you. Let's see if that works.
I don't. It still says organizers and presenters. I don't know if you can make me a presenter instead of a participant.
This is a new thing for me. I haven't done this yet, so let's see. We'll learn as we go, right?
Yeah.
One thing that's fun about learning as on the fly is always trying to figure out what you're doing, and this is part of the fun of this. But I wanted to, let me see, settings, meeting options, bypass lobby. Can present to people, my org and guests. Okay, let's try that. See if that works now. Did that work?
That looks like I can do it. Let's see.
Yeah, very good. I just had to push the button. Okay, sorry about that. Just a little bit of technical difficulty, but now you're able to present. But see, this is how you go on the fly, and you. So now Aaron can't. Yeah, there you go. Finally. All right, cool. Let's let Aaron share here. Sorry about the technical difficulty in the beginning there, man. But
no worries. I'm not seeing it on my screen, so but it is presenting.
Yeah, it's presenting. It's showing your screen right now.
So yeah, so this is that tool, use Artemis, and so I've created this list, which TA3X. I just uploaded a CSV file, and it's going to visit those with my LinkedIn account. It's going to wait 2 days and then send an invite to them. I'm just going to use a generic, just the off-the-shelf invite, and then wait 2 days. And if they are now a relationship, then it'll send them a message.
Oh, that's cool.
Kind of a very soft opportunity. At the very least, everyone will be visited and receive an invite. And then again, if I check back, I may be able to tweak this further to say somebody who accepted this on a different terms, and I'll be able to get some data analysis about the which steps people are in. And I haven't actually launched the campaign. Let's hit launch. Let's see what happens. So yeah, it gives you that opportunity to kind of do this data. I've got in the settings here now the time zone, how many actions I want to have a day, and the maximum number of emails per day. So I'm obviously going to, I'm not doing this to spam people. I'm doing this to just grow my network with a niche group of people that I have their LinkedIn connections with.
That's really cool. So you set this up and it maps it, and so this is a tool called Artemis. That's pretty cool, man. I didn't
Yeah,
even.
and it has your run of the mill, like you can do look up someone's LinkedIn. Let's see if it'll find their email. Actually works much better from search page. So it's really more for, yeah, if I was doing a, let me see if I've got a saved search. Yeah. So yeah, you've seen 100 tools that'll find somebody's email. It does a pretty good job of that. Probably a decent mix of work and personal emails. It also has a pretty robust database if you want to look up people by the company size, keywords, industry, and so forth. It has a built-in email verifier.
Wow, that's
Um,
awesome.
so I think I paid $50 for a lifetime deal. And
50,
so
just 50 for
50
lifetime,
for a
huh?
lifetime deal.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
So
cool.
not a bad thing. Yeah, Appsumo is probably the most popular of these lifetime deals. So you'll see a lot of stuff based around marketing, startup culture. Um, believe it or not, there's a lot of AI stuff right now.
Oh yeah,
I know
for
that
sure.
that might be hard to imagine, and yeah, and so if it doesn't have
Sarcasm.
yeah, if it doesn't have ChatGPT built into it, then
Uh,
it's not the new thing. But I mean, there's a ton of things here for email marketing and so forth. Very good deals, and like I said, $69, you get a lifetime deal, $59, so forth.
so this gives
So
you the latest and greatest recruiting tools that are out there that
it,
might
it
be worth your
yeah, I mean,
while, huh?
you're thinking of, it's built for marketers, but
Right, right.
or demand generation, but same token, you can, yeah, automate your business processes. This is when I looked at, it's like a Zapier, but instead of paying $30 a month, you could buy it for $60 for a lifetime, and you own 10,000 automations a month or something like that, which is seemingly unlimited. So yeah, it takes some hunting, but they do have a money back guarantee on all of these. So
Cool.
if you try it for, I think, up to 60 days and you request your money back, you get your money back. But it's that startup culture. Some of these are going to fail and go out of business in a year, and some of them aren't. So
Can
one of those.
we can we have a fun I'm gonna really have some fun and let Aaron show his expertise on another thing that's pretty cool. Can you show us how to find any software engineer's email address on um, GitHub?
There's so many ways. Well, actually, yeah. So this was the next thing that I was going to show, which is Data Blist. It's small startup, again, and what I use this for is housing large lists. So every time I download things from Use Artemis, for example, I have 10,000 people in this spreadsheet, essentially this online spreadsheet, and I can filter it by any of the properties. So I just want people. Let's see if I have gender is female, and I want to.
So you must have been looking at banks, is that right? You were doing a search on
Uh,
banking folks?
I I'm always looking for something. I mean, it's a yeah. I think there's a few niches that I've worked in, but let's see. But I could say which one. Uh, it does not contain talent. Ooh, I spelled talent wrong. But you can essentially build your own. Oh, it did. But you can essentially build your own. Does not contain talent. There we go. So, oh,
Hmm.
I'm looking at job title. Now I did function. So you can build your own essential filters here, and then if you want to, you can save. Let's do that. Save this filter.
Mhm.
So yeah, I can go through which are the ones that don't have a LinkedIn, and I can clean those up. So again, all 10,000 here have their LinkedIn. So this is, I've kind of been doing this with GitHub for a while. So there's 97,000 people here from
Wow.
from GitHub that I've kind of been keeping a copy of.
How did you
And
find all of their email addresses and all this information of this
I don't know. So
97,000 people?
well, let's take a look at Jordan here. So
Where'd you get all these folks and put them in Artemis? How did you do
um,
that?
that's some of it's a trade secret, uh, but but
I knew you were
what
going to say that. Well, you
I
could
mean,
maybe show the folks the amazing things that you can do with GitHub just to
yeah.
find anyone on it, because you've got that.
So
Anything
here's
you feel
the
comfortable sharing.
yeah, sure. I mean, this first person that comes up, um, I do already have their. Let's just open this up a little bit. So we can see kind of I've got it just comma separated, that there's a email address, and it's, I've got their work email, and then some personal emails there as well, and their zip code, how many commits they have, all of that. So what, um, and I might need to be signed in to do this, but we can just easily see that Jordan here does not have on his profile his personal email, but what you can do is just go to the repos, and for type, you're going to want to change it to sources. Sources means those are the ones that they've actually written themselves and not are branches of other people's work.
Mhm.
And we'll take this one as an example, and we'll see if it works. So we have this, and then we are going to go to the commit and go to the actual commit, and I'm just going to write .patch. And not logged in, but this did work. And so there's Jordan's email address there. So it's just so a long time ago, GitHub, and so they still actually have this. Let me see if I can show it, but they've changed it. So if you
For those of you who don't know, I'm just going to say this: GitHub is a place where software engineers go to put their projects and share in open source way what they've been working on. And so a lot of software engineers come to hang out on GitHub, and that's why it's a great place to source for tech folks. So, and what Aaron just showed you was a backdoor way to get an email address. So,
yeah, and so there's a lot of different
which is
approaches
pretty
to.
dang awesome when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting because, like, I worked for a while ago. I worked for a company in Sweden, and there's a lot of tech talent in Sweden, but I think the best places to work was Spotify, or it was actually, I think, the original people who did what is it, the Microsoft bought the company that you could do free video calling with. But they were based in Stockholm there, and I could go to they had their open
Is
work
it
that
Skype?
people could. Skype, yeah, and
Yeah.
you could go and you could look at the open source tools that they had out there that
Hmm.
Skype or Spotify had built, and see who's contributing to those, and you could see essentially what languages they're using, what's the volume of their work, are they detail-oriented people? Are they going in and kind of fixing other people's work because maybe that's what they're looking for from a more junior developer, somebody willing to learn from others, or kind of do the documentation and dirty work that some of the professionals don't like to do. And then you also have just all the different people who would be open to that kind of sharing what they know. So just being able to like literally peek in over your competitor's shoulder, it's very rare in most industries. You can't do that, but in this technology sector you can see where the work that they're doing and what kind of skills and experience they have to bring to the table. So you could really just be very open-minded about it. And yeah, it's a very cool thing to be able to do. And yeah, like having these kinds of lists and things, it's just if I find a Slack group that's open, I'll join it and put it in there. If I find something on the internet, or I work with Brett Feig on like helping people build out their lists, that's something that I really enjoy doing. So those are some of the tools. And then on that, actually, I don't know if I stopped sharing or not, but I'll show you.
You're still sharing.
One other. Okay. So what you can also do with this tool is they have built some enrichments into it. So if you're looking for a tool that can then extract the name and the email address from some messy data, or enrich the company, or look up the location, or there's a GPT classification tool, so it can look at classification would be more like job families and listing, normalizing names or job titles, cool stuff like that. Look up the company page on LinkedIn, verify the email address, and so on. So they kind of built some of these things in. I pay $12 a month for this, and it's worth it for me to not have to deal with databases. Just I can upload a spreadsheet in here. It'll clean it up. It'll dedupe it. It'll make sure it's set in the format that I need it for, and then I can filter it to my heart's content. So yeah, there's a lot of
Very cool.
Something that I like doing. I hate to say spare time, but it's the things that I nerd out on when I'm not doing sourcing.
Hey, do you want to share one last thing, one master thing that you're really famous for?
What's that?
And just maybe something fun like a construction. This is a niche that I'm working on, but it'd be fun to kind of walk through this. But a list of construction professionals that were speakers at a major conference. So I'll give you a name of a conference just so you don't have to go hunt for one. But so let's see. The conference, major construction conference. There was one in Vegas. Hold on one sec. I'll give the name of it. Oh yeah, it was at a construction expo. And it was Con Expo. International Construction Trade. So Con Expo, Con Ag.
Con Ag, okay.
I'll put it in the chat so you can see. And just how you would hack a list of speakers from this thing. Or attendees, maybe.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to approach this.
This is a fun one though, because this would be kind of a cool little trick for people to see, because you're like the master of this. It's like what you're known for. Let's put that one in there. There you go. So you can see ConExpo on the side there. It's www.conexpoconag.com. And then if you wanted to just show a fun way to how you would hack it for the attendee list.
Let me see what's. I'll share my screen. Switch back to. Is that the logo? I think this is it.
You got it. That's it.
So
ConExpoCon.ag. And just for fun, see how
Yeah.
you would hack it. I'm just giving you a fun challenge so that you can show how
Let's
you
see.
might go about hacking into it. Because you did this once. I remember they had that. What was that? There was something at SourceCon, and you were able to get the list of attendees.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's kind of fun. It's like there's always yeah, there's usually somewhere on these they're going to be using somebody else's platform to host the
Uh-huh.
event, like an app or a website. You see, yeah, a few of these. Let's see. This is talking about the show in person. So what I'm looking for is,
Where you could sign up for it, right?
yeah, to join. And I think it's because this ended back in
Yeah,
March.
it ended. Do you have
So
to wait until it's like actually live?
yeah, because what they'll
If
do is they'll make the event live. But I was just let me
maybe there's a
see.
fun way that you could find it in a different way. So
Yeah,
this is so what Aaron's about to do is just do some of the detective work that sorcerers do. So this is fun to see just his you'll see what Aaron's about to do is do some of the intelligence that a sorcerer does. And so he's a master at this. So it's fun to watch him and his intellectual thought processes. I gave him this challenge just for fun to see what
yeah,
he'd do with it. And even if it doesn't go anywhere and you can't find it, it's totally fine. It's just I think it's good for the audience to kind of see how we sorcerers work because you're really good at this and it's fun to watch you figure it out.
yeah, let's see what
Or even a construction conference if you want to hack one of them. There's the Florida Transportation
yeah,
Builders
let's see what
Association.
this one. So this one's,
Oh,
let's
there it
see.
is.
They've got oh, this is the hotel. So we can register. So I'm looking for the app itself, and let's see if this takes us or gives us an image of the app itself. And what, okay,
There it is.
well,
One
they're
link.
using one link to download, and this is made by OLTA AB. It's a German company. How dare they? Sure. Okay, let's see. Um, we can't find the link to download for your device. Okay. Um, huh. Okay. I bet this is all the vendors. So what we're going to do is, what we really need to do is figure out what this app is. It's called Prince. Thank you for, oh no, Prince is the main sponsor, not the musician. Let's just do app. Um, uh,
There's the attendee registration thing.
yeah, let's see. And obviously, it's more difficult for some of these um, ones where there's obviously a fee involved, even
Hmm.
for most of these. So, but there often is nothing stopping you from downloading the app itself.
Hmm.
And so, let's see. So it's taking me to the registration for this. So I think
What's tread?
I don't know that one. This site I'm familiar with. It's like has it's free for people to like put event information up. So it's you'll see a lot of people will put this up, so it'll get put in people's newsletters. But there's 108 people
Or
following this
followers?
event.
Yep.
So who are the people following this?
Yep.
Um, now this
Oh, and
person's
see?
in Kenya, probably not really useful, but there's somebody from Orlando. Let's see, and out a window on this, and I don't know if you're going to see the pop-up, but I'm going to try to.
Right. You can. This is cool that you found this, because then you've got the followers, and then you might be able to clean up the data or pull it out. You could use, what is it, like data scraper?
Yeah,
What's
I was Instant Data Scraper is the
instant
one that
data scraper is the one I was thinking of.
the
Yeah.
one.
You
Yeah,
could use that to kind of pull out the followers and then put them in a list, right? And then you could
yeah,
enrich the data from there. And then you'd probably use that tool you were using earlier, that little database tool, to put the list in where you could save it, right?
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can obviously play with the data once you've got it out of the system. Let me just see
Do you
if
ever
there.
do you ever hack the professional association site and then go and do the site colon command, the X-ray command, and
Oh yeah,
see what you can find from that? I usually
yeah,
go for lists and stuff like that. That's the simple way to do it. But um,
yeah. Usually that's what I'm doing, is just trying to find the URL, and that's easy enough to, like. I mean, that's where all this started, was knowing how to do that. That you can, once you know the URL, that you can just change it to site and the domain, and what are the ways that you can kind of interact with the site even. But what I've noticed is, on a lot of these sites, again, they're using kind of like a shell, or a way to um, make the site work for mobile or non-mobile users. Um, and so, yeah, you can start to find people. I think this one honestly works a lot like Meetup, where you could
mhm.
see, like I said, who's attended it, um, who they have connections with, um, without really having to do too much, um, or even registering for the site. When it comes to the conferences and events themselves, um, the ability to go in and collect all of that data. And for me personally, I'm gonna, if it's a large number of people, like in this case, I'm seeing a lot of people who aren't in the United States. So if my network, or if I'm trying to only find people who are based in the United States, then it's gonna be easier for me to put them all into a sheet and then filter it.
Yeah.
So that way I can really focus on the people who I have potential use for, and focus on those people only. So yeah,
Let's
there's
try let's try one with nurses real quick, just for fun, and see, can you find a list of nurse practitioners that were speakers at a conference, and how you would do that? Just show them how that's done. It's kind of fun for my audience to see that, because you're, again, a master at this. So just see what you're, like a nurse practitioner or something, and then a conference speakers. So just, yeah, see the simple string that you're doing there, and then just real generic string. That's exactly what I would do. And then you find some folks. Um, there's the AANP, and then there's the speaker bios, see, and it brings up all these different people. So this is kind of, just so folks can see, this is kind of the process. Aaron's doing this, and I'm just kind of talking through what he's doing, but he's doing a search for these folks and looking at the different conferences. But how would you do, using this site, www.aanp.org? Do you want to show the site command and how you would find someone from this site?
Yeah,
Like
so I'm going
the
to take,
speaker attendee list, maybe?
it's from my point of view, it's always better to get rid of the HTTP or the
Agreed.
www, and we're
Totally.
just
Yep.
focusing on the domain. um, so we're coming up with that, and let's try just PDFs or just XLSX, just to see if they have any PDFs. So you can do file type or you can do extension, but those are the two.
commands you
I've
can use.
done that, so you can do the. I believe you can do XLS, and you can see you can use the pipe and
Doing a Google search.
yeah.
That unfortunately not coming up, but maybe try. I wonder if it will show the list of attendees. Sometimes these places they have their open list and a spreadsheet that you can pull off. They've gotten smarter to that probably since then, but
Well, so this one says documents no index. So this is one that's not supposed to be indexed by Google.
yeah, yep.
So so you can find
Resumes sometimes like this one.
yeah, here's a resume of someone. There's no way this should be. Oh, this was their elections. So I mean, we could even try now, knowing this, try this pattern, because now we have the subdomain of
And find their
storage.
documents.
Now we could just
Look what you just found. Look at that. Look at that.
So,
Look at all these people
so,
that pop up here.
so this is just and that's what we're trying to do, is trying to find just what I'm looking for, because again, Google is going to give us, when it's working, when it's having a good day, it's going to show us just what we want and not
Yeah,
what.
look at this though. I mean, you've got a list of resumes for different candidates here that are all nursing, or tied to nursing. So that's a cool trick. And you can
Yeah,
see that many of these guys have a curriculum vitae sitting there. So these would be very strong people to call if you needed a nurse leader.
definitely.
Pretty cool.
And
The
I
fun
think,
trick.
yeah, so there's a couple. So what I would normally do, so if it's an upcoming one, like this is 2022. We could, so
There's
what
one
we're
at the tippity top there, right there. Oh wait,
oh,
that's already over. Sorry.
yes, that's okay. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ones that you could go to find the best conferences, and then you, like I said, so when they open up the app for registration, I have gotten in the habit of, I think, and I learned went back when I was just calling into companies to try to get the names of people working there, that it's just best to be. I found the ruse doesn't work for me. I'd rather just call and tell them I am a recruiter. I'm calling. I don't have an appointment. I'd like to speak to whomever, and get just I think when you do have gatekeepers, which is now it's more automated, but they're more inclined to just put you through to their voicemail or just get to the actual person rather than just playing games, because you're not playing games with them, so they're unlikely to play games with you. So that's something that you can do, to kind of find what are the events. Again, you should be looking at the resumes of the people that you're talking to, or the target people that you're looking for, and say, if only this person was didn't have a VP in their title, I'd be talking to them. Then what are the events and conferences that they've spoken at or attend, and again, set yourself reminders when those go live. Register for them with your company email. Just say recruiter, and a recruiter with an agency even has potential to help people. You're there for positive work. If it's very unlikely that they're going to rule you out. If they do, so be it. But it's better than making up a fake email or doing it under your personal email. You'll get spammed, but guess what? You get spammed by vendors in the industry, which may give you company names, and teach you about the software or the industry as a whole. You'll sign up for one of their newsletters and learn something about what is shaping that industry, what are the pressures that they have, and maybe that'll help you relate better to your candidates. So there's just that curiosity and willing to pick up some of these things, learn something new. And it's a puzzle box, something that we all kind of like to kind of learn from. And like I said, me personally, when I find some of these events, I sign up for them: industry events, conference events, even specific vendors for software. And you can find hundreds, if not thousands, of people. Again, I've got a load of them here that I have all of these different events.
It's really cool, man.
Black is Tech. There was a couple events that Hopin used, and learned that this is going to take a minute to fetch from the server. But once it's in here, it'll load really fast. And then, yeah, international ones I don't always have a use for. So, but I have.
How did you get the Hopin conference master list?
I built it. I mean, you can see, you can sign up for a lot of conferences, and then you can see everybody who's attended one of these Hopin events.
Do you have to pay to sign up for the conference? Do you have to pay the bill that it takes to get in, or sometimes you just?
No. Oh yeah. If I mean, when it comes to like online security, most of the time it's unlikely. Let's say there's a paid architects organization, and they have a membership page. It's unlikely, and I would consider that, even the government would consider that hacking, if I went into a company that had a locked door that said you must pay before you enter. That's called breaking and entering. So I'm not wanting to do that, but quite often they're going to have their webinars and things like that they do for free, and or I'll know somebody that I work with at my company, and I'll say, hey, can you're attending that event? Did they give you a password and ID, or did they give you an email link? Do you mind if I get that password and email for a day? and
then you build a list.
Help me, help you, help me, help you. And help them see, like, well, yeah,
so awesome.
I never have a chance to, like, and I'll say just snap a photo of their neck thing. You won't have to do the awkward thing at the event to try to get their information and share it. Just snap a photo of their badge when you're talking to them, and then I'll have the spreadsheet ready for you. And then we'll be able to, like, you'll type a note or something why you were talking to that person and what the conversation was about, so that they can spark that conversation afterwards, and I can reach out to them because I heard you talk to this person, and you had the start of a good conversation, and they wanted to continue it. So
there's a joke in sourcing circles: we're professional stalkers.
Yeah, I mean, it's
not in that way, but
yeah, not in that way.
way.
But I mean, people go to events
to get them jobs, obviously.
Yeah, people go to events and they attend, and they want to be seen and heard, and so you're giving them that platform. You're giving them that chance to, like, make that happy coincidence. Oh, I saw you attended this event. I saw you registered for XYZ coming up. And so you kind of have an in. You have that warm lead, essentially, to make that introduction. And they may be creeped out by that. They're like, how do you know? And I'll be like, well, I saw on the website that you registered. I didn't, it just seems official. And quite often there's a networking opportunity of these events anyway, so it's not that creepy. But what it is,
my favorite thing, So you've probably gone through this before as a recruiter, like I did once. I had a candidate, and I tracked down their information. I found, it was publicly available, and the candidate goes, "How on earth did you find my information?" And I said, "Well, I have my ways. I sourced you and I found your information online. I went to Facebook. I saw where you were." He says, "I'm not even on LinkedIn." I said, "Yes, I went to Facebook. You have a Facebook account. So I found you there. And then I went to the white pages and I found your information there." And they're like, "You can do that?" And I'm like, "Yes, that's what we do." And he was so surprised that I found his, the iteration of his work email and his phone number. And so he laughed and he's like, "Well, that's amazing. And just the fact that you took that effort to find me, I'm happy to listen to what you have to say." So that's pretty much what it's all about, right? I mean, just the do you have anything else you want to share today? That was a really fun nerding out session that you just went through
No, no
there.
problem. Yeah,
That was pretty cool.
I
So
can always, yeah, I mean, I do really love doing the hands-on stuff. I'm really happy to share most anything that I've done. Like I said, I do, like you said, keep it above board with as far as like companies. But you've got to, we do play in those spaces sometimes where, yeah, they're curious to know how we found out about them, and honestly, it's a compliment. We're trying to help them learn about something and further their career. Like I said, I don't think maybe we have the best reputation as far as recruiters as an industry, but folks like you, lead by example, and show that it is something that people can be proud of saying that they do for a living. It's not headhunting. We're not doing something um, tragic. We're helping people advance their careers and do what they love doing, for more money. So
yeah.
there's there's
Well, we
there's
went
quite
we went
often
a little bit longer than we normally would, but Aaron, this was fantastic. Dang, what a great guy. And hey, there's a new hashtag going around. It's called Hire Aaron. So if you're out there and you're looking for an amazing TA professional, you will find no one more ethical, more kind, more generous, and just out there to help amazing people. And he shares his knowledge in a way that's just genuine. I mean, Aaron's one of the most genuine guys I know. Please hire this guy. I mean, go hire Aaron, help him get back to work quickly. It's an amazing talent. So thank you so much. Thanks for coming on the blog today. I'm impressed. I'm blown away, man. This was fun.
always great talking with you, Mike. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. We are out.
Super.
Okay.
Thank you for that. That's really